All right, guys. So, do apologize for it being so freaking late. But here is the Sugar Me Saturday. So, the topic was, our when you were diagnosed, like what effect did it have? Like the mental, physical, anything like that, like your response to it and all of that. And whew, mine was almost 21 years ago. November 12th will be 21 years. And I still remember that day like it was yesterday. I was It was my dad's birthday. And I remember having to get just a regular checkup at my doctor just for school. So my mom was running late from work, and I was just like, Mommy, please don't be late. I really don't want to reschedule. I just want to get this over with. So blah, blah, blah. It was just like this was an inconvenience for me. And I remember we finally got in to see the doctor. Everything was looking pretty good. And then my mom mentioned to him about, she was concerned because I had been losing so much weight. And then he started looking at my charts. And then that's when he kind of was like, holy crap, she has been losing a lot of weight. And so he just started asking, like, first they were just random questions. And then slowly but surely they became very specific questions. They were no longer just random run-of-the-mill questions anymore. And so I remember, like, me and my mom were just sitting there looking at him, and my mom just kind of said, okay, what is it? Like, you're not just asking to be asking, you know what it is. And that's when the doctor kind of told her, he said she may have diabetes. And we were just like, we only knew about type 2. So my mom was like, how can she have diabetes? She is so skinny. She's not overweight, blah, 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 and all of that. And the doctor told us, well, there are actually two different kinds of diabetes. And one type, which I think she might have, is an autoimmune disease. And so I'm sitting up here thinking, I played sports. I was in gymnastics. I did tennis. I did badminton. I did swimming. I rode my bike. So I was just like, whatever. There's no freaking way I can have this disease, And then I remember when we got home from the doctor's visit, we got a phone call that night. And the doctor was like, bring her in because she's a type 1 diabetic. She has diabetes. And I remember my mom telling my stepdad, get a cab. We got to hurry up and get Anita to the emergency room. And I'm feeling fine. Like, I felt good. Why am I going to the emergency room? I'm not bleeding or anything. I didn't understand. And in the cab was when they told me. And I cried. I cried because I knew nothing about this disease and I didn't want it. I felt like it's not fair. I was basically a straight A student, National Honor Society. Active in sports and drop. Like, I didn't want it. Like, why? I didn't understand why I had to get this disease. I didn't do anything to deserve it. And that was how I felt. Like, literally, that was how I felt. And then I remember I spent about 2 weeks, almost a month in the hospital because my A1Cs were at about 28, almost 29. My glucose levels at diagnosis was over 1,000. So I was in the hospital for a minute. And then I remember the doctors telling me I had to be able, I had a fear of needles, okay, first and foremost. Like, needles and me, we were not friends. And the doctors were trying to get me to do my own insulin, and I couldn't do it. And the doctors were doing it, and they showed my mom how to do it and all of that. And the doctors told me, like, as my glucose levels were getting better and all of that, they told me I could not go home until I could do my own glucose levels. Or, I'm sorry, until I can do my own insulin injections. And I was crying because I couldn't do it. Like, every time they put the syringe in my hand, I couldn't. And I think I was almost at week 2.5, week 3. And I just wanted to go home. I was tired of being in the hospital. I wanted to go home. I wanted, see my friends and all of that and stuff like that, and just put this, let life go back to normal. And then I remember when I finally did my first insulin injection, and the doctors congratulated me and everything. And then they told me now I had to do it for the whole day. And if I did do it for the whole day, I would be released the following morning. And I did. I did it the whole day. And I was so proud of myself. And I was so shocked because I had a fear of needles. And, my life was on the line. Either I had to learn how to do it myself or I was going to die. So got over my fear of needles real quick. I want to say the next thing, like mentally, I was still adjusting. Senior in high school, I was supposed to be going away to school, submitting my my records and stuff, my high school transcripts and all that stuff to colleges, submitting to colleges, trying to, and here I am not knowing how to treat this new disease. So how could I possibly go to college? Not only that, how could I possibly go away to college? And I'm still learning about this disease. I'm still learning what I'm supposed to do, how am I supposed to treat myself. And I was scared. So I didn't go away to school. I did get a full scholarship, but I chose not to go. I stayed in Chicago where my doctor was, where my mom was and everything. And I just stayed here instead of going away because I was scared, going away from home with this new disease that now I have to deal with and I have to treat. So I didn't go. And then, of course, shortly after that, I got hit with the diabetic nerve damage in my legs and feet, lost the ability to walk for almost a year. All of that just hit me all at once. So I guess that was the physical aspect of the type 1, that hit. And that was the hard thing to deal with, I would say another physical aspect, it's the funny part to me, was I started growing hair. Like, I didn't have hair on my legs. I didn't have hair under my arms. I didn't grow a lot of hair. But as soon as my body was put back on insulin and the insulin was functioning and everything, I'm like, Mommy, what is this growing out of my legs? And now I'm getting hair on my legs and I was getting hair under my arms. And I was just, to me now it was funny. When I was going through it, it was scary. Like, why is this happening to me? So it was like all the puberty and things like that should have happened to me when I was in 8th grade and all of that. It didn't happen to me until I was senior in high school and then well into freshman year of college. So I was developing, my boobs started growing and stuff like that. Like all of that stuff that should have happened, I started to experience it when I was 17, 18 years old. So that was kind of a goofy, funny part about the whole diabetes thing. I want to say I did fall into a depression. I did just want to give up. That didn't necessarily happen right after my diagnosis, but it happened some years later. And it was still due to the physical aspects of the diabetes. You guys know I've had miscarriage after miscarriage due to diabetic complications and things like that. So all of that, I guess, it still kind of stems from being diagnosed with this disease and having to deal with this disease. But I got through it, Today, I look and I laugh. It's entertaining, Life throws so much crap at us. I mean, it really does. And when I think of everything else that I could have had, diabetes doesn't seem too bad to me anymore. It seems like as long as I stay on top of it, I should be okay. And I know some people will say, oh, but, you could always die from it or it could always do this. I mean, real talk, almost anything can take you off this earth. I could be perfectly healthy, A1Cs at 5.5, all of that stuff, and I could walk outside and get hit by a car. There is no guarantee we're going to wake up tomorrow morning. So I feel that as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, take care of myself, do my, not injections, but wear my insulin pump, do all of that stuff, there is no real reason to hate or fear or be pissed about having this disease. If it comes down to having this disease or some of the other problems that I could have, Yeah, me and diabetes, we good. We good. So that's all I can say. That is my diagnosis story. How I was diagnosed, the emotional and the physical aspect of it, what I went through and all of that. Yeah, I think that's my story. Me and diabetes, we're good now. I mean, we fight on occasion every now and again. We really do. We fight. But we're good. I've accepted her. I know her crazy ways, how goofy and crazy she can be. But I've also found the joy and the beauty that she can bring. So that's me. How did you guys feel when you were diagnosed? And how do you feel now after dealing with it, working with it, and things like that? Yeah, let me know. So if you liked it, good. If you didn't, I mean, well, I guess that sucks. But, these are just my points of view and what I went through and how I live with it. So I would love to hear you guys'. So let me know how you guys felt, what you guys went through, physical, mental, everything. Okay? Bye, guys.